And now it's story time with your host, Karl Childers.
Married this little old girl one time. Her granny's plumb crazy about her. Crazy like in love, not crazy like in the nervous hospital. I reckon she felt the same way about her. Well, sir, that granny spoiled her a good bit. Even carried her over to that big shopping mall there next to the dollar store where she'd go to get her candy and a pop. And Granny bought her an old red cape. Kindly like Superman. Some folks calls him Clark Kent, I calls him Superman. She wore it all the time, make her granny happy. Wore it so much, folks started calling her Little Red Riding Hood. I reckon that's where they got the name of that story. Well, sir, Red Riding Hood's granny got to feeling a bit poorly. She was old and give out. Red Riding Hood figured her granny there'd feel a good bit better if she had some biscuits and mustard. A little of that corn liquor her mama fixed up in the bathtub there. Some folks calls it moonshine, I call it corn liquor. So she fixed her up a poke with that book, and along with a book on carpentry, and a book on Christmas, and the Bible. Red Riding Hood's mama told her to stay on that path, not fool around and wander off into the woods summers. Little Red Riding Hood said, "All right then." Well, sir, she no sooner got out there in the woods than she come up on this here wolf. That wolf was kindly cruel. Weren't riding ahead neither. Standing over by this tree and drooling and rubbing feces in his hair. Some folks calls it poop, I call it feces. Well, he see that Little Red Riding Hood a-coming along, and he just lit up. Seems like he could have used him something or other to eat. He tried to make friends with Little Red Riding Hood. He wouldn't have nothing to do with him. Probably all that feces in his hair and whatnot. Well, sir, he's a-fixing to pounce on Red Riding Hood, before she wandered off summers. He's going to bite her head clean off. She let slip as she's going to her granny's house, take her some supplies and whatnot. Well, sir, that wolf figured if he played his cards right, he could live high on the hog and eat them both. So while Little Red Riding Hood was out in them woods fooling around like her mama told her not to, that wolf hightailed it over to Granny's house. That old wolf knocked on the door. The minute Granny opened it, he swallowed her down. Didn't even take time to put no mustard on her. And that wolf, he dressed up in some of her old night clothes there. Looked mighty funny, I reckon. Not funny ha-ha, funny queer. Before long, Red Riding Hood come along. She got a gander at that old wolf in Granny's pajamas, and she knowed something is up. She asked her granny what is going on with them big old ears and them big old eyes and whatnot. That wolf said it is for a hearing and seeing her a good bit better. Guess Red Riding Hood weren't bothered all that much by that hair and that tail and such. And she asked about that big old mouth. Well, sir, that seemed to send that wolf right over the edge. I figured he knowed the jig is up. He grabbed up Little Red Riding Hood and just a-licking his chops. Well, sir, she finally put two and two together and pretty much figured out what happened. She said, "What'd you kill Granny for? What'd you kill Granny for?" That wolf was about to swallow her down when all of a sudden these three little pigs come a-busting in. They's taking their lawnmower blade over to Mr. Bill Cox's outfit to get it sharpened, and I heard all the racket. They got a good look at that wolf. Them little porkers just saw red. Seems like they still hot at him for all that huffing and a-puffing and house wrecking he did to them. They weren't no bigger than a squirrel, but they still took that lawnmower blade and killed him. Cut him plumb near in half. Well, sir, Out popped Granny, good as new. They all made a big pot of wolf stew and got pretty well lit on that corn liquor. Red Riding Hood even gave them that book on carpentry so they could build them houses back. Moral of the story is, if and you go a talking to a wolf with feces in his hair, you might need them little pigs to save your bacon.